After yesterday's near riot, the controversy still rages today between Jerusalem temple authorities and Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus and his disciples have just left the temple area where we are located. We're now going to try and interview some of the people in this crowd and pick up their reactions for the greatest week in history newscast.
The Galilean teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, answers charges from religious leaders. Record-breaking crowds throng Jerusalem. These are the headlines. Full details in a moment.
News that is news from the greatest week in history. Up-to-the-minute coverage of news events this Easter week as they happened that decisive week, the final week in the earthly life of Jesus Christ. Now here is Jerusalem Broadcasting System News Central and the news.
Early this morning, a coalition of Judean religious leaders joined in a verbal attack on the Galilean teacher, Jesus of Nazareth. The man has been acclaimed as the long-awaited Messiah. Yesterday, the Galilean prophet shoved bank tellers and concession operators out of the temple courts, causing a near riot. It could break out again today. For an on-the-spot report, we take you to Joseph Ben Ezra, newsman at the temple.
Woe to you, scribes and
Here at the temple, yesterday's explosive controversy erupted again today in the court of the Gentiles. At the moment, Jesus of Nazareth is speaking to a crowd estimated by a Roman centurion to be 7,000 persons. Speaking in authoritative tones, he has urged the crowd to live for God, and he repeated the great call to love the Lord God with all the heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to prove it in how you love your neighbor. Earlier action here in the temple made religious history. In a precedent-shattering move, Pharisees, Herodians, and Sadducees have joined forces and are attempting to push charges of heresy and treason against Jesus of Nazareth. But for the moment, he appears to be master of this potentially explosive situation as he challenges the crowd to recognize the sad state of organized religion in Judea today.
Elsewhere in Jerusalem, a chariot overturned today, killing the driver and injuring 2 passengers. Dead is 32-year-old Balzar al-Hakba of Decapolis. The accident occurred just outside the Damascus Gate in heavy early morning traffic. Authorities said the overloaded chariot snapped an axle, lost the wheel, and overturned. And now for late developments at the temple, we switch to JBS News correspondent David Eliezer.
The controversy between temple authorities and Jesus of Nazareth has been suspended for the moment. The Galilean teacher and his disciples have just left the temple unhindered. We are now in the court of the Gentiles among the crowds of pilgrims who heard his speech. I'm going to try and pick up some of their reactions. Excuse me, sir. May I talk with you for a moment?
All right.
Did you hear the Galilean speech?
Yes, I did.
What did you think of it?
I think he stuck his neck way out. Somebody's going to chop it off. Nobody talks like that and gets away with it.
Well, would you say he's been unfair in his criticism?
Oh, no, he's saying what most of us might have said if we'd been honest with ourselves. He says most of our troubles come out of our own lives.
Thank you, sir. And you, sir, what do you think of this morning's controversy?
Well, I didn't quite understand a lot of the arguments, frankly. It was over my head. But say, did you hear what he called those religious stuffed shirts? Hypocrites. Dead men's bones and blind leaders. How about that?
Who do you think this Jesus is? You think he's the Christ, as some are saying?
Well, I don't know. But I do know that if God himself was here, he couldn't be much more earth-shaking than this.
Thank you. Now, here is a member of the Temple Guard. Could I have a word with you, sir?
I can't speak for my unit, just for myself. What do you want?
What is your reaction to today's debate?
Well, sir, this is the hottest crossfire I've witnessed here in the temple, and this has been my post for 13 years.
Well, as you see it, what will be the outcome?
Oh, I think there's only one outcome. Jesus of Nazareth has just signed his own death warrant. No one can call down the authorities openly as he has and not pay for it, with either his freedom or his life.
Has any action been taken yet by the authorities?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm sure there will be.
Thank you.
And that wraps up the news for today. This is James Ben Jacob, Jerusalem Broadcasting System.
This newscast of the greatest week in history was produced by the Mennonite Church.
Don't tell me what kind of Ephesus you built. I want to know how many hearts you've touched How many souls you've stirred. How many men you've got off of the dope wagon. How many men you've saved from an alcoholic's life. How many prostitutes you've redeemed by your prayer.